The day of the sacred ceremony arrived, and the fortress of the warrior sisters shimmered with anticipation. Jack stood in the central hall, flanked by the three sisters. He had trained, observed, and fought alongside them. He had earned a measure of their respect and trust, but this ceremony was different. It was not just a test of skill, it was a test of character, of heart, and of understanding. The eldest sister approached him. Her armor gleamed under the soft light, and her eyes, usually sharp and commanding, held a flicker of approval. "Human," she said, "today you will demonstrate not only your courage and skill, but your ability to understand our people, our values, and the essence of our way of life." "This is the ultimate trial," Jack nodded. "I am ready. I respect your traditions, and I will do my best to honor them." The middle sister added, "Remember, human, this is not just about combat. You must observe, think, and act with integrity. The trial will show us whether you can truly be trusted." The youngest sister smiled, a mixture of excitement and curiosity lighting her face. "Do not fear, human. You have already proven yourself. Now show us who you are." The ceremony began with a series of tests designed to measure courage, intelligence, and loyalty. First, Jack was led to a training ground where he faced a simulated attack. Mechanical drones and energy barriers created a realistic battlefield. Jack's task was not simply to fight, but to protect the sisters' symbols of honor placed strategically throughout the area. He moved with precision, anticipating the drones' patterns, guiding them away from critical points, and using the environment to his advantage. Every decision was calculated. Jack realized that the trial was as much about strategy as it was about courage. His human mind, sharp and adaptable, allowed him to see opportunities the automated systems had not accounted for. The eldest sister observed silently, nodding occasionally. "He thinks differently," she murmured to the middle sister. "He sees the battlefield as a web of possibilities, not just a line of attack." The middle sister smiled. "And he does not act recklessly. Each choice is deliberate, each movement considered. This is the essence of trust." The youngest sister, eyes wide with fascination, whispered, "He is proving that humans can be more than we imagined." After successfully completing the battlefield challenge, Jack was led to a second stage, a test of intellect. He was presented with a series of intricate puzzles and mechanisms, designed to represent the fortress's defenses and the planet's natural barriers. The task was to restore energy flow to certain areas without triggering alarms or traps. Jack approached methodically. He observed each mechanism, tracing energy patterns and analyzing how each piece interacted with the others. Slowly, deliberately, he restored the systems one by one, avoiding mistakes that would have caused the trial to fail. The sisters watched in silence, their admiration growing with every correct adjustment. "This human," the eldest sister said softly, "he possesses a mind capable of understanding not only technology but the interconnectedness of our defenses. He is remarkable," the middle sister nodded, "and humble. He does not boast or claim superiority. That is rare among any species," the youngest sister added, "and he learns quickly, adapting to situations even we have never encountered." The final stage of the ceremony was the most sacred, a test of loyalty and courage. Jack was led to a deep cavern beneath the fortress. The air was thick with energy, and glowing symbols lined the walls. The task was to retrieve a sacred artifact, guarded by a complex system of traps and illusions. Success required courage, trust in his instincts, and complete focus. As Jack moved through the cavern, he encountered illusions designed to confuse and intimidate him. Shadows appeared as enemies, sounds echoed in misleading directions, and pathways seemed to shift before his eyes. Yet Jack remained calm. He relied on observation, reasoning, and the lessons he had learned from the sisters. He carefully navigated the traps, disarmed the mechanisms when necessary, and avoided illusions that would have caused failure. The eldest sister's voice echoed in his mind, as if guiding him. "Trust your instincts, human. Courage is not absence of fear. It is control of fear." Jack pressed on, determination in every step. He reached the inner chamber, where the sacred artifact, a glowing crystalline orb, hovered above a pedestal. The energy around it was intense, yet Jack approached steadily, careful not to trigger any final defenses. He grasped the orb, feeling a surge of energy and understanding flow through him. At that moment, the sisters entered the chamber, observing Jack with pride. "You have passed," the eldest sister said. Not by strength alone, but by courage, intelligence, and respect. You have proven yourself worthy. The middle sister stepped forward. You are no longer merely a human in our world. You are part of our society, trusted and respected. Your actions have shown us that humans possess qualities that complement our own strengths. The youngest sister smiled warmly. And you have shown that courage and cleverness can come from the most unexpected places. You honor our people, human, and we honor you. Jack felt a deep sense of accomplishment. He had faced challenges that tested every skill he possessed: combat, strategy, intellect, and courage, and he had succeeded. Yet more than victory, he had earned something even greater: trust, respect, and belonging in a world far from his own. The eldest sister raised her hand, signaling the beginning of the final ritual. Glowing symbols surrounded Jack, the energy of the artifact flowing through the chamber. By passing the sacred trial, you are bound not only by respect but by a bond of trust and alliance with our people. This bond is not broken lightly. Jack felt a warmth not of heat but of connection. He understood that this was not a magical force but a recognition of his actions, his integrity, and his human qualities. In that moment, he realized that humanity's greatest strength, intelligence, courage, and adaptability, had earned him a place among the warrior sisters. The ceremony concluded with the sisters presenting Jack with ceremonial armor, modified for his human frame, but crafted with the same elegance and strength as their own. Wear this, the eldest sister said, not as a symbol of your captivity, but as a symbol of trust, respect, and the bond we share. Jack accepted the armor with humility. I am honored. I will wear it with pride and continue to prove my loyalty. The sisters led him to the fortress's highest tower, overlooking the lush forests and cliffs of Virelia. Jack looked out across the planet, a sense of awe and responsibility filling him. He had come as an outsider, a stranger in a world of fierce warriors. He had been cornered, threatened, and tested. Yet through courage, intelligence, and respect, he had not only survived, he had thrived, earning a place among those who had once considered him a captive. The eldest sister placed a hand on his shoulder. Human, you have shown us that strength is not only in muscle but in mind and heart. You honor our people and we honor you. The middle sister added, your presence among us reminds us that trust and understanding can bridge even the widest gaps between species. We are stronger for having you here. The youngest sister smiled softly. And you have taught us that even the smallest spark of courage can light the way through darkness. You are one of us now, human in spirit if not in origin. Jack felt a profound sense of belonging. He had entered an alien world as a human, cornered and uncertain. Yet he had shown that humanity's qualities, courage, intelligence, ingenuity, and respect, were powerful beyond measure. The warrior sisters had accepted him not because he was strong, but because he was human in the best sense, adaptable, thoughtful, and brave. As the twin suns of Virelia set, casting long shadows over the fortress, Jack knew that his journey was only beginning. There would be challenges ahead, threats to the planet, and trials that would test him further. Yet he also knew that he would face them with the warrior sisters at his side, and with the enduring power of humanity guiding him. For the first time in his life, Jack felt truly at home. Not on Earth, not on Virelia, but in the bridge between worlds, where human courage and alien skill combined to create something extraordinary. The warrior sisters, once fierce and unyielding, now stood beside him as allies, mentors, and friends. Jack realized that he had proven something greater than his own survival. He had shown that humanity, when applied with respect, intelligence, and courage, could inspire trust, earn respect, and form bonds that transcended worlds. And as night fell over Virelia, Jack looked out over the glowing forests, the cliffs, and the stars beyond, feeling a deep and unshakable truth. Being human was not a limitation, but a strength that could shine even in the most alien of worlds. The Iron Hawk drifted silently through the dark void, distant stars shimmering like tiny specks of hope. Inside the shuttle, Lyra clutched her ragged, stuffed creature tightly, her small body still trembling from the recent encounter. Jack's hands were steady on the controls, but his mind raced. The slavers were relentless, and he knew they would not give up the chase so easily. Are you okay, Lyra? Jack asked gently, glancing at her. She nodded slowly, but her wide eyes betrayed lingering fear. I think so, she whispered. What if they come back? Jack's chest tightened. He had faced danger before, but never like this. Never with someone so small, so innocent, depending entirely on him. He swallowed hard. "We'll be ready," he said. "We have to stay smart. And we have to move fast." He checked the shuttle's systems. They were old, patched together from different ships, but functional. He plotted a course to a nearby uncharted planet, a place rumored to be far beyond slaver patrols. The planet was wild, dangerous, and mostly unexplored, but it offered a chance to hide and to survive. As the shuttle hummed through space, Lyra finally dared to speak again. "Jack, why did you save me?" Jack's hands tightened on the controls for a moment. He didn't answer right away, thinking carefully. "Because," he finally said, "I couldn't leave you. Someone has to protect the innocent. That's what humans do sometimes. We try to help even when it's dangerous." Lyra's eyes widened. "Humans, help?" Jack chuckled softly, shaking his head. "Yes, sometimes. Not always, but sometimes." He looked at her with a faint smile. "And right now I'm your helper." For the first time since she had been captured, Lyra allowed herself a small smile. It was shy, almost unsure, but it was a start. Hours passed in tense silence, broken only by the faint hum of the shuttle and the occasional beep of the navigation system. Jack kept glancing at the radar, scanning for any sign of pursuit. Space was vast, but slavers were clever and they had powerful ships. Suddenly, a warning alarm sounded. Jack's heart jumped. He looked at the display, 2 small blips rapidly approaching. The slavers had tracked them. "They found us," Lyra whispered, fear creeping back into her voice. Jack nodded grimly. "Stay calm. Follow my lead." He adjusted the shuttle's trajectory, weaving through an asteroid field to throw off the pursuers. The ship shook as it dodged massive rocks, some jagged and black as coal. Lyra's eyes were wide with awe and terror. "Hold on," Jack shouted. "It's going to get rough." Lyra gripped the edges of her seat, her tiny knuckles white. She had never flown in a real ship before, let alone one dodging through asteroids while being chased by armed slaver ships. Her heart pounded, but she trusted Jack completely. The shuttle emerged from the asteroid field, slightly scratched but still intact. Jack exhaled slowly. "Not bad," he said, managing a tired smile. "We lost them. For now." Lyra let out a relieved sigh. You're very smart, Jack." Jack laughed softly. "I've had a lot of practice." But inside, he knew luck had played a part. They weren't safe yet, and the slavers were persistent. As the shuttle approached the uncharted planet, Jack prepared for atmospheric entry. The planet was covered in thick forests, mountains, and wild terrain, perfect for hiding but also dangerous. Jack had no choice but to land in a dense forest clearing. The shuttle touched down with a gentle bump, and Jack quickly shut down the engines. Silence fell, broken only by the rustling of the alien trees outside. Lyra looked around in wonder. "It's beautiful," she whispered. "But scary too," Jack nodded. "It is, but it's also safe. At least for now." They climbed out of the shuttle, Jack helping Lyra over roots and rocks. The forest was dense, the air filled with the scent of alien flora. Strange birds with glowing feathers called from the trees, and small creatures scurried in the underbrush. Lyra's eyes shone with curiosity and amazement despite the lingering fear. Jack led her to a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. It was damp but dry enough for shelter. Inside, he set up a small area with blankets and supplies from the shuttle. Lyra curled up with her stuffed creature, exhausted from the long day. "You can sleep here," Jack said gently. "I'll keep watch." Lyra nodded, her eyelids heavy. "Thank you." Jack sat by the cave entrance watching the forest. He couldn't help but think about the slavers. They would not give up. But he also knew something else. Lyra was not just a helpless child. There was something special about her, something he couldn't yet understand. He had seen small hints already. Her sharp instincts, her intelligence, even her courage in the face of danger. As night fell, strange lights danced in the forest. Bioluminescent plants glowed softly, illuminating the trees in shades of blue and green. Lyra stirred, sitting up and looking around. "What is this place?" she whispered. Jack smiled faintly. "It's a safe place, for now. We'll figure out the rest tomorrow." But the forest had secrets. As Jack's eyes scanned the area, he noticed a faint shimmer near the edge of the clearing. Something moved, fast, subtle, and almost invisible. His hand went instinctively to his sidearm. Lyra noticed his tense posture. "Jack, what is it?" she asked softly. "Nothing." "Maybe," he said cautiously. "Stay close." Suddenly, a small creature burst from the shadows, lunging toward them. It looked like a predator, sharp teeth glinting. Jack reacted instantly, grabbing a nearby stick and swinging it. The creature hissed and backed off, then disappeared into the trees. Lyra shivered but smiled faintly. "You saved me again," she said. Jack ruffled her hair gently. "We have to look out for each other. That's all there is to it." Over the next few days, Jack and Lyra explored the area, finding edible plants and small streams for water. Lyra showed surprising intelligence and courage, learning quickly under Jack's guidance. She remembered bits of what her father had taught her about survival, and Jack marveled at how resourceful she was despite her age. One evening, as they rested by the cave, Lyra spoke softly. "Jack, I want to help. I want to be brave like you." Jack looked at her astonished. "You already are brave, Lyra. You've been through things most adults couldn't survive. Don't underestimate yourself." Lyra's eyes shone with determination. "But I want to do more. I don't want to be just saved. I want to help." Jack smiled faintly. "All right. We'll train together. But you have to promise me one thing. You'll always listen to me when it's dangerous." "I promise," she said without hesitation. As days passed, Jack noticed something unusual. Occasionally, when Lyra was frightened or angry, small sparks of light seemed to dance around her hands. At first, he thought it was a trick of the light, but then he saw it again, clear, glowing energy forming tiny shields around her hands. Lyra gasped and stepped back, frightened. "Jack, I didn't mean to," she cried. Jack knelt beside her. "Lyra, it's okay. It's special. You have a gift and I think it can help us, but we have to learn how to control it." Lyra looked at him, eyes wide. "A gift?" Jack nodded. "Yes, a gift. And if we use it wisely, it can protect you, and maybe even others." For the first time, hope mixed with fear in Lyra's heart. She was small, alone, and far from home. But she also had someone who believed in her, someone who would protect her no matter what. And maybe, just maybe, she had the power to do more than just survive. Jack watched her sleep that night, a faint smile on his lips. He knew the slavers would not give up easily. He knew the galaxy was cruel and dangerous. But he also knew that humans had a strange, stubborn way of surviving and protecting those who could not protect themselves. And for Lyra, he would do whatever it took. The forest was alive with soft sounds of night. Strange insects chirped and glowing plants cast gentle light on the mossy ground. Jack sat near the entrance of the cave, sharpening a small blade. Lyra slept quietly inside, curled up with her stuffed creature. Jack's eyes scanned the forest beyond. He had thought they were safe, but danger was never far away in this part of the galaxy. He could feel the slavers' presence in the back of his mind, though they had not followed him this far. Still, he was cautious. The galaxy had taught him that threats often came when least expected. Jack sighed, tired but alert. Protecting Lyra was not just about survival, it was about keeping hope alive in a cruel universe. The next morning, Lyra awoke to the smell of cooked roots and a small fire. Jack had been up early, preparing breakfast from foraged plants. Lyra's violet eyes sparkled as she watched him work. "You make it look easy," she said, trying to help. Jack smiled faintly. "It's not easy, but you learn fast and that helps." Lyra nodded, eager to be useful. She helped collect water from a nearby stream, moving carefully over slippery stones. Jack watched her closely. Every action she took was filled with determination. Despite her size, she showed a bravery he rarely saw in adults. After breakfast, they discussed their next move. Jack wanted to explore the forest to find a more secure hiding place and possibly some resources to help them survive longer. Lyra was excited but cautious. She still remembered the fear of being hunted, the terror of being alone. "Do you think Papa is still alive?" she asked quietly as they walked through dense trees. Jack's chest tightened. He didn't know the answer, but he didn't want to lie. "I hope so, Lyra. We have to hope. And we have to stay strong until we find out." The forest seemed endless. Towering trees formed a thick canopy overhead, blocking most of the sunlight. Strange creatures scuttled across the forest floor, some small and timid, others larger and more dangerous. Jack taught Lyra to identify which creatures were safe and which could harm them. "You have sharp eyes. Jack said as Lyra spotted a nest of glowing insects hiding under a log. Just like your father taught you. Lyra smiled, pride in her voice. I remember some things. Papa always said to watch carefully and think before acting. As they ventured deeper into the forest, Lyra's latent abilities began to appear more clearly. When they were startled by a sudden rustling in the bushes, a small burst of glowing energy formed between Lyra's hands. A few rocks nearby lifted slightly, spinning in a small protective circle. Both of them froze. Jack, I didn't do it on purpose, she whispered, eyes wide. Jack knelt beside her, keeping his voice calm. It's okay, Lyra, you have a gift. And it's strong. Stronger than you realize. But we have to learn to control it. Lyra looked down, unsure what to think. A gift. But it scares me too. Jack placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I know, but the best gifts often scare us at first. We just have to learn how to use them. They continued walking, carefully navigating the forest. As they moved, Lyra told Jack more about her people. They were a small, peaceful race, skilled in technology and energy manipulation. Her father had been a village protector, a brave leader who had fought to keep their home safe. The slavers had taken him and captured Lyra, hoping to exploit her people's abilities for profit. Jack listened quietly, anger simmering beneath his calm exterior. He had faced cruel humans before, but slavers who hunted children and families were worse than any he had met. He clenched his fists. We'll make sure they don't hurt anyone else, Lyra, I promise. By mid-afternoon, they reached a small clearing where the sunlight filtered through the canopy. Jack thought it was a perfect place to rest. They settled near a stream, the sound of flowing water soothing after hours of walking. While Lyra explored nearby plants, Jack scanned the area. He spotted faint footprints leading deeper into the forest. His heart raced. These tracks were fresh, not from wildlife, but something intelligent. Jack, what is it? Lyra asked, returning from examining a strange plant. Jack held up a hand, signaling her to stay quiet. I think someone or something has been here recently. We need to be careful. Suddenly, a group of slaver scouts emerged from the shadows. Their weapons were raised, and their eyes were cold and calculating. Lyra gasped and froze. Jack acted instinctively, stepping in front of her. Stay behind me, he shouted. The slavers sneered. Hand over the girl, human, one of them barked. You know the rules. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Jack's mind raced. Fighting them directly could put Lyra in danger. But he couldn't let her be captured. He grabbed a nearby stick, throwing it toward the slavers to distract them. Simultaneously, he grabbed Lyra's hand. Run, he shouted. They sprinted through the forest, dodging between trees and leaping over roots. Lyra's small feet moved quickly, keeping up with Jack. As the slavers fired, small blasts of energy from Lyra's hands flickered out, knocking some of the attackers back. Jack watched in amazement. Lyra, focus, control it, he shouted over the sound of gunfire. Lyra concentrated, forming a small glowing shield around herself and Jack. The energy held back the slavers' attacks long enough for them to reach a hidden cave deeper in the forest. They ducked inside, breathless and exhausted. Jack looked at Lyra, his chest heaving. That was incredible. You protected us, Lyra shook her head. I didn't know I could do that. I'm scared, Jack. Jack crouched down, placing his hand gently on her shoulder. It's okay to be scared. But you see, even scared you can do amazing things. That's why you survived. That's why we're still here. For the next few days, Jack taught Lyra how to use her abilities carefully. She practiced moving objects, forming small shields, and sensing energy around them. Each time she succeeded, her confidence grew. Jack encouraged her, praising her efforts and gently correcting mistakes. They also explored the forest further, finding edible plants, fresh water, and places to hide. Lyra's curiosity was endless. She asked about the stars, about humans, and about Jack's past. He shared some stories, carefully avoiding details that might scare her. Through their conversations, they developed a strong bond. Jack as her protector, mentor, and friend. Lyra as his small but courageous companion. One evening, as they rested near the stream, Lyra turned to Jack. Jack, do you think Papa is proud of me? Jack's throat tightened. He had no idea if Lyra's father was alive, but he could answer with hope. I know he would be proud. You're brave, smart, and kind. And you never give up even when things are hard. Lyra smiled faintly, leaning against Jack. I want to be like him. Strong and protective. Jack ruffled her hair gently. You already are, Lyra. You already are. As night fell, the forest glowed with bioluminescent plants. Jack watched the stars above, thinking about the challenges ahead. The slavers were still out there, and the galaxy was vast and dangerous. But he also knew something important. Lyra had potential far beyond what she realized. With guidance, she could grow strong enough to face any threat. He sat silently, reflecting on humanity's role in the galaxy. Humans had survived against impossible odds, adapted and often protected those who could not protect themselves. He hoped that same spirit would guide him as he helped Lyra discover her gifts and navigate the perils of space. Lyra stirred beside him, half asleep. She whispered, "Thank you, Jack, for not leaving me." Jack smiled, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "I told you, Lyra, I would never leave you. And I never will. We're in this together." As the night deepened, Jack kept watch, alert for any sign of danger. He knew the journey ahead would be difficult, filled with threats both known and unknown. But he also knew one undeniable truth. As long as he and Lyra faced the galaxy together, there was hope. And hope in a dark and uncaring universe could be the strongest force of all. The small shuttle drifted silently through space, the glow of distant stars casting faint light across the cabin. Jack sat at the controls, his hands steady, eyes sharp. Lyra crouched beside him, peering at the star charts with wide, curious eyes. Though the forest planet had been safe for a time, Jack knew it was only temporary. The slavers were relentless, and he had to find a more permanent refuge. "Where are we going?" Lyra asked softly, her small fingers tracing the lines on the star map. Jack glanced at her and smiled faintly. "There's a safe zone far beyond the reach of most slavers. Very few know how to get there. It's risky, but it's the best chance we have." Lyra nodded, absorbing every word. She had grown in confidence since the forest, learning to control her energy powers, learning to survive. Yet she still depended on Jack, trusting him completely. Jack felt a mixture of pride and responsibility. Protecting her was not just a mission, it was a promise. Hours passed as the shuttle navigated asteroid belts, nebulae, and drifting debris fields. Jack's experience as a pilot was crucial. He maneuvered the ship with skill, avoiding collisions and dodging remnants of space storms. Lyra watched him closely, her eyes wide with awe. "You're amazing, Jack," she whispered. Jack chuckled softly. "I've had practice. But don't underestimate yourself, Lyra. You've got a gift too, and it's incredible." She blushed slightly, not used to praise. I just want to help." Jack smiled, looking at her small but determined face. "You do help. You always have." Suddenly, an alert beeped from the shuttle's navigation system. Jack's eyes flicked to the display. 2 blips were moving fast toward them, slaver ships. His jaw tightened. "They found us," he muttered. "Get ready." Lyra's small hands trembled, but she stood, forming a protective energy shield around herself. Jack's heart pounded, not just from danger, but from the strength he saw in her. She was not helpless. She was powerful. "Stay behind me, Lyra," Jack shouted as he adjusted the shuttle's trajectory. The slaver ships opened fire. Energy blasts streaked through the void, narrowly missing the shuttle. Jack weaved expertly, dodging attacks while calculating their next move. Lyra's shield flared brightly, absorbing some of the blasts and flickering under the pressure. "Focus, Lyra. Concentrate on the shield," Jack yelled. Lyra clenched her teeth, her small body trembling. The shield strengthened, glowing brighter and more stable. She could feel her energy flowing, guiding it to protect them both. Jack smiled faintly despite the danger. "That's it. Keep it up." They darted through an asteroid field, using the rocks as cover. The slavers pursued relentlessly, firing through the gaps. Jack's mind raced. He needed a plan, and fast. He spotted a dense nebula ahead. "Hold on tight," he shouted. The shuttle plunged into the colorful cloud, engines straining against the turbulence. The slavers hesitated at the edge, unwilling to follow blindly into the dense gas. Inside the nebula, visibility was nearly zero. Jack navigated using instruments alone, sweat beading on his forehead. Lyra clung to him, whispering encouragement, her small hands glowing faintly as she tried to sense the energy around them. Hours later, they emerged from the nebula, battered but alive. The slavers were gone, forced to turn back. Jack exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. "You did amazing," he said, looking at Lyra. "Your shield, it saved us." Lyra smiled faintly. "I'm getting better?" Jack nodded. "Much better. You're learning fast." Over the next few days, they traveled across the stars, facing more challenges. Cosmic storms rocked the shuttle, systems malfunctioned, and strange gravitational anomalies pulled them off course. Each obstacle tested their skills and trust in one another. Lyra learned to use her energy abilities in new ways, moving objects in zero gravity, sensing danger before it appeared, and even creating small bursts of propulsion to help stabilize the shuttle. Jack watched with amazement. She was growing stronger, smarter, and braver every day. One evening, as they drifted near a quiet star system, a distress signal appeared on the shuttle's radar. It was weak, barely detectable, but human enough for Jack to recognize. He studied it carefully. "It's coming from a nearby moon," he said. "Someone is in trouble. We can't ignore it." Lyra's eyes widened. "Should we help them?" Jack nodded. "Yes, we can't just fly past. That's not who we are." They altered course and landed on the moon's surface, a rocky, barren place with thin atmosphere. The distress signal led them to a small settlement under attack. Slaver raiders were looting and capturing inhabitants. Jack's jaw tightened. "Stay close, Lyra. We're going to help them." Lyra nodded, forming a small energy shield around herself. Jack guided the shuttle into position, using debris and rocks for cover. The slavers were numerous, but Jack's mind raced with tactics. He could not overpower them all directly, but he could outsmart them. He created distractions, using the shuttle's systems to trigger loud noises and sudden lights, confusing the slavers. Lyra used her powers to lift debris and block attacks, protecting both themselves and the frightened settlers. Together, they made a difference. The settlers rallied, inspired by the bravery of a human and a small alien girl fighting against impossible odds. They helped guide people to safety while Jack and Lyra continued to hold off the raiders. In the chaos, a slaver grabbed Lyra, pulling her toward the shuttle. Jack's heart froze. He couldn't let them take her. Acting instinctively, he threw a device that emitted a blinding flash of light. Lyra's shield flared, repelling the slaver and allowing her to break free. Jack ran to her side. "Are you okay?" he shouted over the noise. Lyra nodded, trembling but determined. I'm okay. We did it." Jack smiled, pride swelling in his chest. "Yes, we did. Together." After the battle, the settlers thanked Jack and Lyra. Though they could not stay long, the slavers would regroup. They had inspired hope. Lyra looked up at Jack with admiration. "Jack, we saved them," she whispered. Jack knelt to her level. "We did, and you were amazing. Don't ever forget that. You're brave, smart, and strong, just like your father." Lyra smiled faintly, holding his hand. "I want to keep getting stronger, so I can help more." Jack nodded. "And you will." "I'll help you. But you have to promise to always be careful." "I promise," she said firmly. As they left the moon, Jack looked at Lyra. She was small, but her spirit was fierce. Together they could face anything the galaxy threw at them. The slavers were still out there, and dangers would come. But they had proven that courage, intelligence, and trust could overcome even the darkest odds. The shuttle continued its journey through the stars. Lyra practiced controlling her energy, lifting small objects and forming protective barriers. Jack monitored systems, keeping them safe and teaching her strategies for survival. In the quiet moments, they talked about the future. Lyra asked about other worlds, other species, and even humans. Jack shared stories, carefully avoiding frightening details but instilling lessons about bravery, hope, and the power of determination. One night, as they rested in the shuttle under the glow of distant stars, Lyra whispered, "Jack, do you think we'll ever be safe?" Jack looked at her, gently brushing her hair from her face. "Safe, maybe. But more important is that we're prepared. As long as we stick together, we can face anything. The galaxy is dangerous, yes. But humans, and you, we have something they don't. We have courage, and we never give up." Lyra smiled, leaning against him. "I believe you, Jack." Jack smiled back. "Good, that belief, it's what keeps us alive." As the shuttle moved through the endless void, Jack thought about humanity's place in the galaxy. Humans were often underestimated, seen as weak or reckless by more advanced species. But time and again, humans had proven their ingenuity, resilience, and courage. He felt proud knowing that in his own small way he was showing that spirit to Lyra, teaching her to survive, to fight, and to hope. And Lyra was learning fast, faster than he could have imagined. She was small, but she was strong, brave, and extraordinary. Jack tightened his grip on the controls. Ahead lay unknown dangers, perhaps far greater than anything they had faced so far. But for the first time, he felt a fierce confidence. Together they could face the galaxy. Together they could survive. And together, they could fight for what was right. The journey across stars was far from over, but Jack and Lyra were ready. The shuttle glided silently through space, stars stretching endlessly around them. Jack and Lyra had traveled farther than either of them had ever imagined. The uncharted regions of the galaxy were dangerous, yet they had survived every challenge so far. But the slavers were relentless. They would not stop until they captured Lyra and reclaimed their prize. Jack's jaw tightened as he monitored the instruments. The latest readings showed multiple slaver ships converging on their position. These were not scouts, they were the main force, and they meant business. Lyra stood beside him, small hands glowing faintly as she sensed the approaching danger. "Jack, they're coming," she whispered, eyes wide. Jack nodded. "I know, it's time to face them. But remember what I've taught you. Stay calm, focus, and trust yourself." Lyra took a deep breath, her violet eyes shimmering. "I will." The first wave of slaver ships appeared on the radar, dark silhouettes against the bright stars. They were armed with advanced weapons, far more powerful than anything Jack had faced before. But he had something they didn't: human ingenuity and the unbreakable bond between him and Lyra. "Hold on tight," Jack said, as he adjusted the shuttle's trajectory. "We'll make them regret chasing us." The slavers opened fire, energy blasts streaking through space. Jack weaved the shuttle expertly, using asteroids and debris for cover. Lyra's hands glowed, forming shields that deflected incoming fire. Together they were a team, each action complementing the other. Suddenly, a massive slaver flagship appeared, dwarfing the smaller ships. Jack's eyes narrowed. "That's the one. We take it down and the rest will retreat." Lyra's hands trembled slightly. "Can we really do it?" Jack smiled faintly. "We have to. There's no other choice." He piloted the shuttle closer, dodging heavy fire. Lyra's shield flared, protecting them from blasts that could have destroyed the ship. Jack noticed her control improving. Her powers were stronger, more precise, and increasingly reliable. "Ready?" he asked. Lyra nodded, her energy flaring brightly. "Yes." Jack maneuvered the shuttle into position and activated a series of defensive and offensive systems. Using the shuttle's energy to amplify Lyra's powers, they created a powerful energy pulse blasting through the slaver fleet. Ships were disabled, thrown into chaotic spins, while Lyra's shields and attacks protected them from counterfire. The flagship's weapons locked onto them. Jack's heart pounded, but he stayed calm, focusing on the controls. "Lyra, now!" he shouted. Lyra concentrated, energy bursting from her hands in a brilliant beam. It struck the flagship's core, causing a chain reaction. Alarms blared as the massive ship shuddered and exploded, sending debris flying in all directions. The remaining slaver ships retreated, unable to continue the fight. Jack exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. Lyra's energy faded, leaving her trembling but alive. "You did it," Jack said, astonished. "You saved us both. And everyone else." Lyra's eyes shone with pride and exhaustion. "We did it together," she whispered. They floated in silence for a moment, watching the remnants of the slaver fleet disappear into the void. The danger was gone, for now. Jack guided the shuttle to a nearby habitable planet, a safe world he had discovered during previous missions. The planet's lush forests and calm oceans offered a sanctuary for them to recover. As they landed, Lyra looked around in wonder. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Jack smiled. "It is, and it's ours. At least for now." Over the next days, they repaired the shuttle and explored the planet. Lyra practiced controlling her powers, learning to lift larger objects and create more complex energy constructs. Jack taught her survival skills, strategy, and the importance of thinking ahead. Lyra's confidence grew rapidly, and she began to see herself not just as a survivor, but as a protector. One afternoon, while they rested near a sparkling river, Lyra asked softly, "Jack, what happens now? Are we safe forever?" Jack shook his head gently. "The galaxy is never completely safe. There will always be dangers, new challenges, and threats. But what matters is that we're ready. You've grown stronger, smarter, and braver than most adults I know. And together, we can face anything." Lyra smiled faintly, leaning against him. "I want to help others like we helped the settlers. I don't want anyone else to be scared or hurt." Jack nodded. "And you will." That's what makes you special. You care and you're brave enough to act. Days turned into weeks as they explored the planet. They built a small shelter and cultivated plants for food. Lyra's abilities continued to grow, and she discovered new ways to sense danger, protect herself, and even communicate with some of the planet's wildlife. Jack marveled at her adaptability. One night, as they sat beneath the stars, Lyra looked up at Jack. "Jack, do you think Papa is proud of me now?" Jack smiled, gently taking her hand. "He would be more than proud. He would be amazed. You've survived, you've grown stronger, and you've helped others. You're everything a father could hope for, and more." Tears welled in Lyra's eyes, but she smiled through them. I want to make him proud every day," Jack nodded. "And you will. But remember, being proud of yourself is just as important. You've faced danger, fear, and uncertainty, and you've come through. That's worth celebrating." As they sat in silence, the night sky filled with the gentle glow of alien constellations, Jack reflected on the journey they had shared, the forest, the battles, the slavers, the escape, and the victories. He had seen humanity's best qualities reflected in Lyra: courage, intelligence, hope, and the will to protect the innocent. For the first time, he felt a deep sense of peace. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but there was room for hope, room for courage, and room for heroes, even small ones like Lyra. The days that followed were filled with learning, exploration, and preparation. Lyra trained tirelessly, mastering her powers and gaining confidence in herself. Jack guided her, teaching not only survival skills but also the values that defined humanity: compassion, bravery, and resilience. One morning, while surveying the planet from a high cliff, Lyra asked, "Jack, do you think we can ever go home?" Jack looked at her, thoughtful. Home might not be the same as before, but wherever we are together, that can be home, and we'll make it safe, strong, and full of hope. Lyra nodded, feeling a warmth in her heart. Then wherever we go, we'll be ready. Weeks later, they were finally prepared to leave the planet and continue their journey across the galaxy. The slavers were defeated, but Jack knew there would always be new dangers. Yet he no longer feared the unknown. With Lyra by his side, they were a team, brave, intelligent, and unstoppable. As the shuttle launched into space, Lyra looked out at the stars, her eyes shining with wonder. "Jack, do you think we can really change things? Help more people?" Jack smiled, his eyes on the endless expanse ahead. "We already have, Lyra, and we will keep doing it. One step at a time, one person at a time. That's how humans make a difference." Lyra's smile widened, her small hands glowing faintly in excitement. She had come a long way, from a frightened child trapped by slavers to a courageous, powerful young alien ready to face the galaxy. Jack felt a surge of pride. He had not only saved Lyra, but he had also helped awaken her potential. Together, they represented something rare and powerful: the courage and determination of humanity, shining brightly in the vast, dark universe. And as the shuttle glided through the stars, carrying them toward new adventures, new dangers, and new hope, Jack and Lyra knew one undeniable truth. No matter how dark the galaxy seemed, as long as humans dared to fight, to protect, and to hope, they would never be defeated. Lyra turned to Jack, her eyes glowing with determination. "Wherever we go, we face it together." Jack smiled, placing a hand on her small shoulder. "Always. Together." And so they journeyed onward, through the stars, through danger, through the unknown, brave, strong, and united. Humanity's courage and heart had not only saved one small alien girl, but had sparked a beacon of hope that would shine across the galaxy, proving once again that even in the darkest corners of the universe, courage, intelligence, and compassion could triumph. For Lyra, for Jack, and for every innocent soul out there, their story was only the beginning.